Let's all go to the lobby. Let's all go to the lobby. Let's all go to the lobby to get ourselves a treat.
Hello, and welcome back to another movie review from yours truly. Today I am very pleased to bring you my review for Moon, starring Sam Rockwell and directed by Duncan Jones. You might recall that I mentioned in my dossier and in previous reviews that I had intended to review Moon when it came out on the 12th of June, but the release was so limited that there were no theaters nearby showing the movie. Well, I finally found a theater close by that was playing the film, and I jumped on the opportunity to see it. This is a film made on what is considered to be a shoestring budget by today's standards, only $5 million. You might not be so familiar with the director and writer of the film, Duncan Jones, but I can guarantee that you know the work of his father, David Bowie. This doesn't make a man qualified to make a film, and it's the last thing he wants to be known for. So trust me when I say I only mention David Bowie to give you an idea of this man's background. This is the kid who ran around on the set of movies like Labyrinth and watched his dad act in several films and television shows, as well as write music for several films and for his own purposes. Ground Control to Major Tom, just so you know, this guy has an amazing penchant for science fiction and a great panache for it as well. After seeing the film, I have to say that this guy belongs in this business. This is the first science fiction movie I've seen in years that made me feel like I was really watching a classic sci-fi flick. The lack of special effects can be blamed on the budget, but who wants to blame someone for refusing to pump special effects into a movie that doesn't need it? I don't think I'm alone here when I say that seeing all the CGI special effects and such pumped into films nowadays can be fun on occasion, but it gets really old when that's all there is to be had. Sci-fi fans, more so than your average film fan, tend to long for a return to simpler times when such flash and bang was not necessary to tell a great story. Well, Duncan Jones has brought us that return with Moon, and Sam Rockwell delivered an amazing performance throughout, but before I get too far into it, let's get into the ratings. We'll start with the art as usual. When it comes to Moon, the art is in the storytelling. Duncan pulls it off like he's conjuring up the spirit of Steven Spielberg. In fact, the movie feels a lot like a Spielberg movie because the storytelling is just geared towards keeping the audience interested. However, instead of using something flashy to wow the audience, he uses suspense and curiosity to keep you wondering just what is going on. This is the kind of sci-fi film that they used to make in the 70s and 80s, and it was really something special to see on the silver screen. I have to give the art an A, because there are some not so well hidden throwbacks to sci-fi classics, and some very well hidden throwbacks as well. This film is a virtual Easter egg to go alongside films like 2001, Alien, and films like that. It brings back the style of the sci-fi flicks of old that I'm sure most of us miss dearly and want to see again. On to the special effects, and as I said before, there's not much to be had here in terms of flashy CGI or anything else. The real special effects here are classic standbys that have been used since the 50s. Stuff like split-screen effects, which show the same actor conversing with himself, brought up images of classic movies from the past. While there were some shots of the Earth from the moon in what looked to be a very well put-together set, and there was probably a little CGI here and there, it wasn't prevalent. As an example of something that may be CGI, you see a machine mining rocks, and the rocks are pushed out and seem to almost float to the surface. Those rocks might be CGI'd, but I just can't be sure. If CGI was used, it was used so well that it blended in perfectly and seamlessly with the background. Even the ship felt like an old friend from the 70s and 80s sci-fi flicks of old. And the robot helper, played by Kevin Spacey, was an obvious nod to Hal from 2001: A Space Odyssey. Hell, Spacey even sounded almost exactly like Hal. I have to say, for being so seamless and so well orchestrated, the special effects in this film were exactly what they should be in every movie. Simply a tool used to blend reality with fantasy. As such, I give the special effects for Moon an A for proving that you don't need flash and bang to make a good, responsible use of special effects. Now we get to the story, and wow, was it good. I'll be honest. The story is a little slow, because let's face it, this story depends majorly on the work of only one actor, Sam Rockwell. Since you're only seeing and hearing one person for the majority of the film, the message touches in large part on the idea of loneliness out in space. The only way it would work is to be a slow-moving film, so the pace is done perfectly for the story, as it keeps the audience wondering for quite a while and asking metaphorical questions for quite a while after. You really start to feel for this guy because you're spending so much time with him, and the way the film is directed, you just want to reach out and touch him. He feels so real. At one point, they even have a bit of a shout out to the sci-fi classic Blade Runner, which, if you're attentive enough, you should easily be able to notice. I swear, like I was saying earlier, this film just feels like it belongs right alongside the classics. It may one day be a classic itself, but if only for the reason that it pays homage and respect to such classics as Blade Runner, it belongs right alongside them. I'm going to have to give the story an A as well because I absolutely loved it. It was slow, but it felt like a blast from the past at the same time. On to the acting, and while there were very few actors and actresses besides Sam Rockwell and Kevin Spacey, these are the characters that leap into your heart. Sam plays an everyman who is also conveniently named Sam. Sam Bell, that is. Spending 3 years tending after machines which mine the moon for energy. His only companion is a robot who is voiced by Kevin Spacey, who sounds almost exactly like Hal, like I was saying earlier. From the first second you hear him, you get that image of Hal in your head. Spacey does a fantastic job pulling on our memory and heartstrings just with his voice, and Sam does some of the finest split-screen acting I've ever seen. At one point, the guy really looks like he's just falling apart and can't cope, and you just start to feel not for him, but with him at every step of his journey. The acting really pulls you in here, and because of that, I have to give it an A as well. So yeah, Moon will be the second film I've reviewed to get all A's, behind only Pixar's Up. I wasn't surprised by the quality, as it was pretty much exactly what I had expected from what I'd heard about the film. I don't know if it's Oscar worthy, I just know that after seeing the film, it holds a special place in my heart, and will hold a special place on my shelf next to all the classics once it is released on DVD and hopefully Blu-ray. If you long for sci-fi flicks of old and want to see a movie that really pays homage to that style, then Moon is one to see. Sadly, I doubt many of you will have that option until it is released on DVD or Blu-ray, but you should definitely keep it on your list of movies to see. Rent it if you must, buy it if you can, but if you like what you've heard, then I don't need to tell you what to do next. Well, I hope you've enjoyed my review for Moon, and I hope I gave you a better sense of what to expect without ruining anything for you. I'm sure some of you will be pleased to hear that in addition to this review, on Monday the 13th, I'll be bringing you my review of the new Sam Mendes film, Away We Go. So expect that in a few days, and I'll also be reviewing the new Harry Potter film with that review to come on either Friday or Monday after its release. Thanks for watching, and remember to have a fun summer at the movies.
And now, folks, it's time to say goodnight. We sincerely appreciate your patronage and hope we've succeeded in bringing you an enjoyable evening of entertainment. Please drive home carefully and come back again soon. Good night.